Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Droid Life Show, episode 34 tonight. And whole crew with me. I'm Kellen, your host. Everybody else, do a little intro, if you will. Start with Tim.
Hey guys, Tim here from Droid Life.
Hey, this is Ron.
Hey, I'm Eric.
Ooh.
Welcome back. This is like 3 weeks in a row. It feels we are officially on a streak now.
It's official.
Three is an official streak, which will end probably next week at the Note 3 event.
Yep.
So we've got some stuff to talk about this week. It's not going to be a really packed show. There's just not really a lot going on other than Moto X talk and then Note 3 coming up soon. So we're just going to sort of blitz through some stuff, and we'll see if anything else pops up. Like a few minutes ago, Hugo Barra leaving Android. We'll probably get to that in a minute. But let's start first with the Verizon HTC One finally launched last Thursday. I believe it was last Thursday. And Eric's got one. Eric's going to review it. Since Tim and I have had, I think, the HTC One in every single variant possible, we thought we'd give it to somebody that hasn't touched one ever. And there it is. Verizon.
All your 4G logos.
Yeah.
Right here.
Double entendre.
Yeah. So we haven't talked a lot about Verizon's variant because, like I said, we've reviewed it, I think, twice now. I think Tim and I each reviewed it. I've also looked at the Google Play edition. So I apologize if you bought the one and you're expecting a whole bunch of coverage of it. It's coming. Eric's just going to take care of it just because we've talked about it so much. The phone hasn't really changed. It just now runs on Verizon's network. But Eric, so for someone that's just now getting their hands on the one for the first time, just want to get like your thoughts in general.
Well, first off, it's me getting my hands on the one for the first time, but it's also me getting my hands on like a next generation phone coming from the Galaxy Nexus. It's like,
that's true.
I don't even know. It's like the skies have opened up and just shined down upon my phone, and here we go. You know, it's fast, it's smooth, it doesn't lag when you hit buttons, it does what it wants you to. Oh man, it's so good.
2013 is pretty sweet, huh?
Oh yeah, I know, right? It's good to be in the future.
Yeah, welcome to 2013. But you make a good point, though, because there's got a ton of people that are coming, especially our readers anyway, that are coming from the Galaxy Nexus, contracts up, and now they're looking for a new phone, and this is probably one that they're going to be considering. But so far, you're kind of excited about what you're doing there?
Yeah, it is very impressive so far. I mean, we were talking about this before the show started, but coming from the Galaxy Nexus, coming to a phone this screen size, and especially the one in particular, once you pick it up, I have pretty large hands, but I picked it up for the first time, and I was like, man, this is a pretty hefty phone. You know, it's a little bit wider than you expected. It's a little bit taller, but once you get used to it, you can hold it in one hand pretty easily. And, I mean, it's got a little curve on the back, which is nice, makes it easy to hold. And then the edges are sharp, but not sharp enough to pain you in any way. You know, just enough to, look good, basically. And,
all right, so you said it's easy to hold. Is it slippery to you? Like, I found it, depending on the time of day, like, it was, I don't know what that means. It was just slippery. Like,
yeah, I could see that.
I don't know what that meant.
I don't necessarily want to walk down the sidewalk with it out in one hand, because I just feel like there's the chance I might drop it. But if I'm just sitting here, and maybe it's the way I hold the phone, but I usually don't find it feeling like it wants to slip out of my hand. But okay. I can kind of see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. All right, so what about the home back button situation? Is it driving you nuts? Are you okay with it? Are you used to it?
I had known for a while that this button was the button was coming, but on my old Galaxy Nexus, I was used to, if I wanted to get back to the home screen, I would double tap home quickly because, once it will get me out of whatever app I'm in, and then it'll take me to the home screen after that. But here it takes you to the recent apps because there's only 2 buttons, so they mapped that double tap sequence to recent apps, which drives the hell out of me. I can't stand it. I do it probably about 25 times each day trying to get back to the home screen. And I'm like, well, crap. I gotta, and when you exit out of that, it doesn't take you to the home screen. It still puts you back in the app where you started. So it's just annoying. You can map, and the only thing you can change about that is the Google Now setting. You can't take away that double tap feature, which is, I mean, it's annoying to me, but most people would just get over it. I'm
Okay,
assuming.
so I was gonna ask you that. The setting you can change, is that where you can actually swipe up on the home button?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can change it to where you can swipe up for home or for Google Now, and then if you long press it, it turns into a menu button, and then you can turn it to where if you long press, it'll open up Google Now, and then I don't think there is a menu button on that setting.
Yeah. So it's running 4.2.2, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that pisses me off because I bought the unlocked version, which was supposed to get updates first, because it's essentially like the dev version. And HTC says, no, in the US, we're going to skip 4.2 because it was just minor, and we're going to go right to 4.3, which we might have out by the end of September, except they never hit any of those goals. So, yeah, like all of Europe and the rest of the world, and then Verizon, all of their ones are on 4.2.2 with this new like swipe up feature and the toggles in the notification shade. And like I don't have that on my unlocked version. That just pisses me off. But that's HTC for you. So, anyways, keep going. What about camera, battery life?
The camera has been awesome for me, but I haven't reviewed other phone cameras like the Galaxy S4 or stuff like that, so I don't really have anything to relay that off of except for my DSLR. But for the way that I've been using it, it's been fantastic. I've been posting all the pictures to my Instagram and my Twitter, and the pictures are clear. Normally it's pretty bright outside, and there's not a lot of question of what the camera should be doing, but I'm going to be taking some low light pictures to test that out. But so far, for the quick shots that I've been doing for Instagram and stuff like that, it's been fantastic.
Oh yeah, those low resolution pictures are great for Instagram. So you need to take a low light picture though, because it will sort of amaze you.
Yeah.
You'll take one and you'll go, whoa, like my eyes can barely see that, and yet this thing's it's really nice. It's really cool.
Battery life has been fantastic. I've been using it the past 2 days. And I used it really hard yesterday. I tried to, really go at it. And most of the time I was on Wi-Fi at my school, but it was interconnecting with 4G every once in a while when I couldn't get a signal. And at the end of the day, I was only at 45%. And I checked Twitter, probably every 5 minutes. Text messages, website, that kind of stuff. I was at Qdoba yesterday, and I sat down the phone and streamed a stream through the phone through Twitch app for about 15 minutes straight. Like it really impressed me yesterday with how long the battery life lasted.
Yeah, that's good to know, because that's one of those things people are going to wonder is how the battery life is compared to like the AT&T version, stuff like that. So
let's see, what's it at today? I've only been using it, I don't know, mildly today, but I'm still at 73%, and I unplugged it at about 10 o'clock this morning, and it's 9 o'clock now. So I've been blown away by, because I've only heard like mediocre things about the battery life. I've heard that it kind of depends, but so far these past 2 days have been really impressive.
Oh, nice. So now you have a choice to make if you're going to go that or Moto X once it comes out.
Yeah. You were asking me about that before the show started, and I kind of want to wait till I get to the Moto X in my hand before I make a decision, because now that I've felt, I would say this is on the larger side of the scale, compared from Moto X, Galaxy S4, HTC One, or Droid Max. Not just in terms of screen size, but also, just weight and girth of it, I guess.
Phone girth.
So it'll be interesting. The decision just got a lot harder. Let me say that, from what to upgrade to.
Yeah, once you get both of them in hand, it's just completely different. Even though they have the same size display, it's just a completely different experience. So yeah, that should be good. So review. Hopefully we'll have that up in a week or so.
Yes.
I know you're back in school, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be up next week.
Sweet. All right, so we got to talk about Hugo Barra. This is kind of this. So if you guys didn't see it, we just posted this up quickly, and we'll hopefully have more on that later. But Hugo Barra, according to All Things D, has left the Android team for, I still don't know if I'm saying this right, Xiaomi. Does anyone know how to say that?
I say Xiaomi.
I say
Xiaomi.
Xiaomi.
Xiaomi. Yeah, I have no idea how you say that. But anyways, that's a huge loss for the Android team. If you've watched, Google I/O, if you've watched any of their special events, well, just the new Nexus 7 launch, he's always the guy on stage showing off the new products, all the new Android features. He's kind of like,
A big
one
deal.
of the big. He's one of the big faces of Android. So I don't know what that means. Andy Rubin just left. Hugo Barra is leaving apparently now for another company.
I'm gonna start pointing to that. It doesn't probably mean anything for Android. I mean, I was talking to Eric and Ron before the show started. You were writing up Hugo Barra, and I think it's a bigger deal to us, at least in the industry, because we know his name, we know his face, because he's one of those guys that stands on stage and announces new features and all that. But I was telling them, say if there's probably hundreds of Android developers that work for Google and make the operating system that we know and love, but if one of those guys quit or went to Xiaomi or however you want to pronounce it, no one would care because just no one knows their names, but like maybe they're like the real movers and shakers kind of, like, I mean, just because you're in charge of it doesn't mean you're actually doing, like you're molding it to be what it is, So I don't know if he stays up until 2 a.m. and is coding Android or anything like that, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't know if it's going to mean anything in the long terms of Android. That's what I was trying to tell the boys anyways.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't want to like discredit him, but he's the VP of product management, so
I don't want to discredit either. I'm sorry, Hugo, if you're listening, and I'm sure he is. But
no, I don't think you're discrediting. I'm just saying you're probably right. There's a whole bunch of guys under him that are creating all of these awesome products. He's kind of the face and voice and leader of those products, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Android's just going to die now. It's just like when Andy Rubin left. Android's been fine since then, right?
It's been just fine, if not better.
But
they haven't done anything, granted, because it hasn't been that long, but sure.
Right. But it's still doing fine.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. So I guess for me, it's just kind of weird and a little sad. Like we've seen this dude on stage, I don't know how many times. We've been in the same room with him, Yeah, he seems like a good dude, I guess.
He seems like a good dude, but say if this was Matthias, oh man, like then we're talking some serious apocalypse stuff going on, because I don't know what I would do.
So Matthias leaving, though, it would actually be probably a pretty big deal. Like the minute he showed up, he started influencing things.
Exactly. He's a creator. He's a sculptor. I don't see. He's an artist. I don't see Hugo as much of like an artist as more of like a pitch man type thing. Like he just kind of like he's a good-looking guy. He just gets up there and talks about Android and. He has a team.
The reality is like we don't know what kind of input he's having in terms of like features. Like he may not be the one actually coding, but like if he's the one deciding what gets in and what goes out and that kind of thing, like if he's on that kind of level, or influencing those decisions in any way, like that could potentially have some sort of a. But we don't know. We have no idea what kind of say he has or.
Right. I know. I wish there was more corporate transparency as to like what these guys' their roles actually were, because it could be a big deal, but it also could not be. But I don't see him being a big deal in terms of how Android looks or operates and things of that nature. But again, we don't know, so it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, you're right. We don't know. We don't know exactly what his level was in terms of making final decisions on what feature goes here. Like maybe he was the guy pushing Hangouts to be a cross-platform. We don't know, right?
Yeah. And generally, the people that are out front talking, generally for most companies, if they're doing that, they do have a lot of say.
Yeah.
So they may not have like final say, but they definitely have a lot of say and a lot of influence. So
he is a manager. I mean, it would make sense that he has some say. We just don't know to what extent.
Right. We don't know what say. We don't know if there are like certain ideas or features in Android that did come from him. He joined the company back in 2008, so I mean, he's been there as Android has matured from the beginning. So. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens. It'll be hard. It'll be tough to tell what that means, though, and it really will be next to impossible to tell unless we ever find out what he actually did in Android and if he had any, influence and made any specific decisions for how Android works and looks.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll also get to see a new face, like on stage.
Someone's gonna take his spot. We'll pour one out for Hugo.
We all just want Tias on stage. That's all we want.
And they might do that. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that in the meantime. He's been the front man for, some of the stuff at least. Certainly with Android 4.
Yeah, so we saw him. That's right. We saw Matthias on stage in Hong Kong or wherever he did the Android 4.0 and the Galaxy Nexus, and we haven't really seen him since, right? He's kind of been in the background. We see the shirts.
He just does a lot of interviews for the Verge.
Yeah, he does some interviews.
Right. Well, yeah, so that'll be interesting to watch, and hopefully there'll be more. Actually, I don't know if there'll be more info on this story. I'm sure every big tech publication's trying to find out more. We'll see if that happens. And who knows? Maybe he'll say something. I don't know.
Just keep an eye on his Google Plus page.
Yeah, really. Also, sort of completely unrelated, but came out around the same time. All Things D also reported that Sergey Brin and his wife are breaking up. That has nothing to do with Android, but it's kind of weird that it came out. Like the two reports came out within the same time. But there's also
interesting.
I'm not trying to relate this, but there's right in the middle of All Things D's report. There's this. Barra recently tendered his resignation, but that it came before a recent personal situation related to the end of a romantic relationship he had with another Googler and is unrelated. I don't even know what that sentence means.
No, but keep reading, because after that it says that Sergey is now dating that Googler.
Oh, it does say that. You're right.
Yeah, and it's disgusting because nobody needs to know that.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't get that far. So the Googler is now seeing Sergey Brin.
Yeah. I don't need to know about Sergey's personal life. I don't need to know about Hugo's personal life. It's kind of disturbing that All Things D decided to publish that, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, well, aren't we all just disturbed now?
I'm not down with the sickness as well.
It was actually pretty funny. I made myself laugh today. That happens all the time, but I made myself laugh while I was sitting on the couch. I was watching a commercial, and I was like, oh, this commercial offends me. I'm going to take to the internet now and complain about it. And just how people will get offended about something, and everyone has to know, and it's crazy. But yeah, TMZ Google style is not
really
something
is, right?
I need.
And we don't need to go into that area. This is a point where, the tech writing culture came across a story that only kind of sorta has to do with tech,
right?
And then they didn't really know if they were supposed to write it up or not, because the world would have been A-okay without that story ever been published.
Yeah, well, somebody should have made a decision and said, hey, we don't need to publish that. That's not important.
So that's just a bad editorial decision on their part.
Well, no, just to defend them first, they did say that they were trying to clarify that this doesn't have anything to do with like Google stock because they had a prenup and stuff like that. So they tried to tie it in there. If you want to give them that, but
no. See, to me that just sounds like a reason for them to bring up that they wanted a prenup. Like they knew that part of the story, and they're like, all right, we got to put that in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's definitely murky waters for tech publications, that's for sure. But anyways, that happened. Hugo Barra left, and apparently his girlfriend is now with Sergey Brin, and he's leaving the company. So, wow.
Oh well.
Stuff happens.
All right.
I saw her too. She's kind of cute. So just throwing that out there. I saw. Well, we were at I/O standing in line for the keynote, and Hugo walked by with that girlfriend, and oh yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But
all right. Well, in other Google
news, fine.
The Nexus 4 dropped $100 across the board last night, which is it's kind of insane. Yeah, like I didn't even know what to say when I saw it. I just kind of went, no way. So $199 for an 8 GB phone, unlocked. Off contract, you could buy a phone for $200, and it's Google's flagship. Then if you want to spend $50 more for $250, 16 GB version. So today the story came out that the Moto X cost Motorola $221 to manufacture. Google's now selling the Nexus 4 for less than that off contract. That's crazy. Cool though, if you want a Nexus 4. There's no LTE, but
I think that's to the point where I might just get a Nexus 4 just to have it. I mean, that's $200.
Oh, it's definitely impulse buy territory right there.
Yeah, that's getting really close.
And now is definitely the time to buy a Nexus.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be able to use it on my carriers anyway. It'd just be something that I'd be tinkering with.
Yeah, but you were just complaining about how you're finally off the Galaxy Nexus. You're, about a month away from being sad that you just bought that because another Nexus is going to come out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't waste my money on that unless like if
well, no,
like,
that's
if
what I'm
I
saying.
just
Like, I wouldn't be buying it to use it as my everyday phone because I couldn't use it on Verizon anyway.
right.
If
no,
I bought
know.
it, it'd be something for me to tinker with Android and keep up.
But I'd wait a month and tinker with the new one.
Yeah, but that one's not going to be $200 though. That's the thing.
I think the phone still has it's completely justifiable to buy it for $200. That phone is still
a really good phone.
It's
for
still
$200.
a great phone. I mean, it's not my favorite phone, but for $200, it's better than anything else you're gonna buy. So
yeah, the only reason I'd buy it is if like my current phone like broke or something. Like if you're not.
All right, Mr. Negative.
I'm just saying if you're
it's practical.
If you're thinking about getting a new phone, like if you don't need one. Like I wouldn't get that right now. I would wait.
We still have to keep in mind that it doesn't even have LTE, so it's a lesser device than anything else. So.
Right, which is what I'm saying. There are reasons aside from like the fact that there are problems with the device. Of course. I wouldn't get it. So even if you didn't mind that it doesn't have LTE and has a lousy camera, and that you can't set it down on the counter without it shattering if you're killing, like
what phone doesn't
even considering all those things, like I would still be really, really careful to say like maybe you shouldn't buy that right now. Maybe they're just trying to get rid of inventory.
Motorola's still paying you those checks, huh? Just to keep it going.
Moto X.
Bash on everything else. All right.
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's an impulse buy territory. It's not necessarily the smart buy at this point. You have $200 if you want a phone just to tinker with that's always got the newest version of Android. It's probably worth it for that.
Until 2 years from now.
If you're but it's $200, so you can justify that. Like you're not spending $800 on this thing and worrying about it being irrelevant. It's $200. So it's an impulse buy thing, luxury buy, I guess you should say. You're not buying it at this point to be like, I have the newest phone ever. That's crazy, though. Crazy. $200 for a brand new phone. Yeah. Everybody else selling that stuff on contract for that. But yeah, that could mean new Nexus coming out. It probably means there's a new Nexus coming out. That was my first thought when I saw the story
break this morning was that they were clearing out their inventory. They're getting ready.
Yeah. Well, especially when you think about that when the 4 dropped, it was that they didn't even sell the Galaxy Nexus at all. They just got rid of it entirely.
Yeah.
So presumably they had low enough inventory where they didn't care to do like a fire sale or something. So I'm guessing they have quite a bit more inventory of the Nexus 4 than they want at this point.
They must, yeah, because they were supposed to do, with the last year's Nexus 7, they were supposed to do a fire sale of that too. It was on their calendar. And then they just didn't do it. So they must have sold enough or gave enough to one sale a day or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, so the Nexus 4, it kind of seems like they have a few too many, and they do really want to get rid of them. And this is probably a way to do it. I don't know how many people emailed us in the last 24 hours and said, hey, I just bought one. Does it work on Verizon? Like, no, it doesn't.
Oh, boy.
It doesn't.
Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry, guys.
It's one way to
do it. But yeah, so
potentially
means new Nexus is on the way. We're pretty sure it does actually mean that new Nexus is on the way, October-ish. And yeah, we don't really know anything about new Nexus phones, so we're not going to really hype that. We do have a code name that we might publish in the next day or two. Otherwise, yeah.
Hint, hint.
I love those. Yeah. What else we got?
Oh, let's talk about fingerprint scanners for a second.
And scanners, I want one? Like right now?
They're apparently like the real deal now. Clearly, Apple and HTC didn't follow the Motorola Atrix saga because they tried it and no one cared 1 second.
Yep.
It was like one of those selling things you put up on a board to go, that's cool. We could tell people that it's got a fingerprint scanner, and that'll be on stage. Fingerprint scanner, watch this, and then no one actually cares once it hits retail stores.
But to be fair, I mean, I think people were mostly distracted because the Atrix also had the lap dock, and that was such a big deal that I think they just totally forgot about the fingerprint scanner because we all know the lap dock it did really well.
It was such a great technological advance.
Can't tell if he's being.
All right, so somebody.
serious right there.
Somebody tell me why you need a fingerprint scanner on a phone. Like, explain it to me. Unless you're in, like, some government agency and everything about your life is secure, why do you need it? Why do you need a fingerprint scanner?
If you don't have a face for the camera to recognize or something like that, then you can use your fingerprint.
So say you're Rorschach and your face changes all the time. You can't use face unlock. You're screwed there.
That's right. That's the only reason I can come up.
I'm making a list. Number one is if you don't have a face, you might need it.
Or it's constantly changing like Rorschach.
Face unlock is actually still a thing. I didn't even know if that was still in there.
It's definitely still a thing.
I think the big thing though is like if you want to have some form of security and you don't want to have to type in your password all the time, like you know, if your thumb gets chopped off and somebody steals your phone, like you're probably gonna be more worried about that than, you know.
Then buy the Motorola Skip. That's what you need.
Yeah, the Skip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Motorola's take out. But that's what it is. Just so that you don't have to slide to unlock or enter a PIN, you can just touch your finger to it and it unlocks your phone. I mean, that's it, right?
I think it's a really cool idea for that.
You asked me this question and you mentioned the government agencies, and then I countered by telling you that most people, or some people, are paranoid enough that they want to stay away from the government agencies, so they feel like they'll have to have a fingerprint scanner on their phone to make sure that they're not being watched by the NSA.
So Apple's rumored to do it. Are they just going to do it to the home button? Is that they're going to make it like a sensor in the home button, or are they going to do it somewhere else? Do we know? I haven't
even
The
heard.
current rumor is the home button, but who knows?
Okay, so
it was also rumored for the last one and didn't happen.
Right. So if they were able to do that to a home button, I kind of get that. You just place your finger on the home button. But HTC with this HTC One Max or whatever it's called, and the new pictures of the backside just show this giant square like right in the middle of the back.
Black ugly square right in the back.
It just looks terrible. I
but
guess
that's where your finger rests.
You pick your phone up, put your finger there, right where the dimple is on the Moto X.
That'd be sweet.
But it does. Okay, so hopefully the retail version One Max doesn't look like. I just hope it doesn't look terrible like the pictures we saw today.
Yeah, hopefully they spice it up a little bit.
The fingerprint scanner.
I do know.
Sorry, Ron. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay.
I was just going to say. I don't have a point to bring up.
No, me neither. I don't have anything to add. Just iPhones and Moto X's.
Oh, good. Well, then I'll bring it up. Because I was going to say, I would want a fingerprint scanner if it was on a phone that I actually wanted. Maybe that's kind of like a big deal about it, because I don't want the One Max. But like you said, if it was in the dimple and didn't take away from the aesthetics of the device that I love so much, then maybe we'd be talking. Because someone said, sure, it's more secure than a pattern unlock, you know, and it could be quick, then okay, I get it. But it seems like a waste of hardware, a waste of resources, and like they would charge more for it or something like that. I just don't get it, you know, because.
Well, I think if it's built into the cost of the phone already, you know, for my day job, I work for a computer consulting company, and we do have quite a few clients for businesses that want to have that fingerprint scanner to log into their computer because it is faster, and then they can put a crazy password on their. On their computer, so they don't have to, you know, so if they have to enter it, they can, but otherwise they're able to get in there quickly, and that makes it harder for somebody to get into there. Yeah. So if you've got a lot of sensitive stuff on your phone, or if you just don't want somebody messing with your phone, like that's a nice way to get in there quick, and then you can put, you know, like a long crazy password on there.
Sure.
So I think, I think there are definitely some advantages, and especially since phones are getting stolen a lot more as they become more expensive, and, you know, the market to resell those phones has increased. I think that's something that could be pretty cool and pretty helpful for a lot of people. Yeah. So especially if you tell somebody, hey, because, you know, telling somebody you need to be secure and have a long crazy password that nobody's going to guess, like people don't want to do that. But if you make it a lot easier and say, hey, put on that password, you need to remember it, but remember you can always just scan your fingers so you're not entering it all the time. That's going to help a lot with security.
Sure. Whatever.
Wasn't there a rumor? I think there was an early rumor that said Motorola was looking to do something with the dimple. It wasn't just going to be a dimple. Like it was going to have some sort of purpose other than and that could have been it. Maybe they were originally flirting with that idea of like a fingerprint scanner.
Yeah, and then they remembered that they tried that with the Atrix and it didn't work.
This is Google.
Don't tell me what it is, but I think we did this with the phone before.
Yeah.
Wait a second, guys. I need to go pull something out of the closet here, but I'm pretty sure this rings a bell.
It's definitely a well-placed dimple, though. Like.
Well-placed dimple is such a good thing in there.
Yeah.
Well-placed dimple. So this is also the second phone they've called the X in about 3 years, too. So. I can't wait for everyone that refers to Android phones in general as Droids to start calling this the Droid X and confusing everyone at Verizon. I want the Droid X. That's not around anymore.
You know, what if they like pull one out that they had back there?
Sure, we could.
Right. Yeah, we've got that on contract for $300.
Yeah, and $299 on contract.
$200, please.
Sweet.
You got gingerbread. You'll be fine.
I think I have one in the museum behind me of phones. All right, so fingerprint scanners. All right, I'm kind of with you a little bit on that. If it could be built into the phone and not look terrible like it does on the One Max, it could be somewhat useful. Even though Motorola already tried to put it in the dimple, put it on a home button, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. So, Moto X stuff? You guys want to talk about any of that stuff? Moto X.
What is
Moto X?
I don't know. There seems like there's still more to talk about. Anyways, it costs $221 to build, which is right in between. We don't know that for sure. The IHS research firm decided that's what it costs, which comes in right about between the iPhone 5 when it first launched and the Galaxy S4 when it first launched. So I guess
That's just an estimate based on the cost of the parts and all that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's not kind of like research and development and all that.
Exactly. It doesn't count any of that. So we assume that's why Motorola is justifying the $199 price. At the same time, the full retail of $579, it seems cheaper than most. Like, what was the?
Well, they gotta make some money.
Yeah. So I think the Galaxy S4 16 gig when it first launched off contract was $599, so it's like $20 cheaper. So they're giving you a deal. Motorola is.
It's interesting that the price keeps getting brought up because I think it's only people who don't really care about specs and all that stuff will see that it is actually quite a bit lower than an S4 or a one-off contract, and we'll be like, wow, I mean, this is just as good of a phone, and it is cheaper. But to us, who was like, oh, it only has a 720p display and an S4 Pro, and it just seems like a weaker device. But in terms of using it from day to day, this is not by any means a weaker phone than the S4 or the One or anything that I've played with. So I think it's worth almost every penny of the 500 some odd off contract. I mean, besides the camera software being just, shots fired. Besides the camera software being total garbage, it's fine. It's a great device.
Yeah, I've sort of forgotten about the whole price point at this point. Like, it just doesn't really matter to me. The phone's a really good phone, and you should just check it out anyways. But
like the sands of time, man. Everything just keeps going.
But last year's specs, Kellen. Last year's specs.
Last year's specs.
God, every time I read one of those comments.
Womp womp.
Every time.
So Motomaker live if you want to buy the phone for AT&T. Woodback's coming sometime. We think they're going to cost an extra $50. That doesn't bother me at all. Wood phone, kind of a premium deal. Like, they're cutting wood. It's not like faux wood. They're like cutting wood and tossing it on a phone.
Wood. I'd pay $50.
I'd pay $50 for a teak phone or something.
Bamboo.
Yeah. All right. So Moto X launched on Verizon officially now tomorrow, or in a couple hours potentially, because sometimes they push phones out late at night. That could happen.
Tomorrow the 29th thing. Yeah, it is.
Tomorrow's the 29th. Yeah. So Eric, you can't
Tomorrow's
go.
decision day.
You can't go in store though and play with it, which is kind of unfortunate. It's only launching online for now.
Huh.
Apparently they couldn't keep up.
But you
with
could go to another
produce
store. Go to an AT&T store and play with one.
You could.
Yeah.
You could go to an AT&T
I
store.
don't even know where AT&T stores are around here.
Well, there's a thing called Google. And,
What?
you can just figure it out.
That sounds like a lot of work. That
All right.
If you had a Moto X,
Eric.
you could just voice.
Yeah, I could just ask my phone if I had the Moto X.
Just
Okay,
call
Google
them like
now.
8 times and your phone
But
will do it.
instead, you have an
Locate
HTC One.
AT&T.
Oh, Tim's doing it right now.
Oh yeah. Oh, done and done. Boom.
But
I found
with your
AT&T.
With your HTC One, you could just like long press on home and go to Google Now and tap the microphone button and do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep, you could. So yeah, that's coming tomorrow on Verizon if anyone's buying.
That's exciting.
And yeah, white and black models. We have no idea when it's coming to Motomaker. Probably not till November.
Rest in peace.
And if you don't want to go with the bootloader locked versions, the developer editions are apparently days away. Although that was days ago when Puget Sony said that.
That was last
Yeah, that was
Friday.
Friday. So days away could mean.
It could literally mean
tomorrow?
years. Like,
Yeah.
like, it's not like days have a limit.
Well,
At
I was
least he didn't say
reading
weeks.
his post, and somebody, he said days in the thing, and then somebody, was doing what we're doing. They're like, oh yeah, that, is it days or is that years? And he reiterated. He said days. Period.
Yeah, he
So.
did. I would think maybe
Oh.
tomorrow. So Verizon's version comes out. I would think we'll see the North American unlocked version, which is the one that works on AT&T. I don't know. This is just my gut feeling. I don't know that we'll see Verizon's developer edition, but maybe they'll launch them both at the same time and do the right thing. We also have no idea on price other than 32 gig versions on AT&T are $629. So I wonder if they'll make you pay a premium for that unlocked bootloader. We'll see.
Better hope so.
Better hope so. Let's see what else is out there. Droid 5, anyone?
Finally. An answer to all the emails we receive.
With or without modal blur?
Oh, with.
Oh.
Is that
a
modal blur?
Bring blur back.
Yeah.
Bring blur back. Tim's blur cult. So yeah, we got first pictures of the Droid 5 over the weekend. I think that was like late Friday nights. It's a QWERTY slider Droid, headed to Verizon obviously because Droid Motorola is the only one making Droid phones. And yeah, I am not interested whatsoever in this phone. I don't think I even want to hold it. I just don't.
Well, what's the point, really?
Send the review. Send the review device to me.
You hold one, you've held them all, right? I mean, it's pretty much a Droid 4. It looks like a Droid 4, just less like edgy, like less razory.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rounded.
Yeah. So it's gonna be
more
it's gonna be meh. It's gonna be a whole bunch of meh.
Like I was saying last week, I was talking to my friend the day before the Droid Life show last week, and I was like, man, it doesn't look like there's gonna be a Droid 5. And then I
they
sent
dropped
that
the
to
bomb
him.
on us.
I posted that on his Facebook wall the other day, and him and another buddy of mine that also have a Droid 4 were like commenting on it. So that's 2 buys at least right there. That's 2 sales.
I'm just surprised that they're making one, to tell you the truth. I know there's got to be some sort of market for QWERTY keyboards, but
that's a futile attempt, I think, at making a quick buck.
Yeah. At the same time, though, if they're going to do this X8 stuff, it could have good performance and all that, and then you just get a little keyboard on there.
And the camera will suck.
The camera will suck. I feel like someone needs to do like a 10-page research paper on why Motorola cameras have been so terrible over all these years. Because they just won't get any better. I think Brian from Anantech in his review said they use an OmniVision camera sensor, which is what they always use. So maybe they just need to get rid of their contract with OmniVision or whoever it is that they're, because their cameras are just terrible, year in and year out. Doesn't matter what they do to the software.
God, it's bad.
Every year we have people telling us in our tips that the camera's really good on this phone. You know, it started with the Bionic, then it went to the Razr and the Razr HD, and it was the camera's really good this time around, and it's just not getting better. What else do we have? Do you guys want to talk about this Verizon Max and Verizon Edge stuff? I just feel like I don't want to promote that at all because no one should do either of them.
Yeah. Just that's all we have to say. Don't do it.
Yeah. If you see the words Verizon Max or Verizon Edge anywhere near a Verizon store,
just run away.
Droid Max, Verizon Max, stay away.
Yeah. Well, no, the Droid Max is probably not terrible. We still don't have one, by the way. I don't know where.
Probably not terrible. It's a great review.
I don't know. We were supposed to have a review in it like a week ago, and we still don't. So that's
the
coming
Droid
if you want
Max, guys. It's probably not terrible.
Quote him on that.
Write an opinion piece.
Yeah. All right. Do you guys have any apps and games you want to talk about?
Heck yeah. You're up first. It looks like.
Oh, you want me to go first? Oh, so. This is just a shameless plug. So we've been doing this icons and ultimate custom clock widget series where we just sort of feature a bunch of UCC dub clock widget skins and icon packs, and we've done 4 of them now. But I just wanted to just not really a shout out, but just tell you to submit those to us as you see new clock skins or icon packs that are awesome. Drop them in our inbox. We're going to continue to do that, and it's easier if you send those to us so that we don't have to spend like 5 hours a day fishing through icon packs because there's a lot out there, and most of them are terrible. So we want you to send the good ones to us.
Yeah, we are more than happy to pimp out our phones.
Yeah, it's been fun actually going through all that stuff. So yeah, send in UCCW clock skins and icon packs. That's all I got.
All right, I'll take it away. I got the big news this week, probably the biggest news of the week besides Hugo Barra, is Snapchat beta for Android. I don't know if any of you guys are Snapchatters like myself, but I actually found it's kind of a fun way to communicate with friends and loved ones. And just having fun. Either way. So the Snapchat, hey, look at that. So yeah, the Snapchat team decided to hop along this beta train that Google is letting developers do. there's other teams like Facebook and the Nova launcher and all these other big companies that are experimenting with the beta. So they're letting people join the beta, try out new features that are coming out, and so far, I've had the Snapchat beta installed. There's only 2 things different. There's like one, it's really hard to explain, like when you use your finger to draw on a picture, it changes the density of the pen stroke depending on if you use like the tip of your finger, the blunt, and the fingertip part, non-tip. So I can't really. I wonder what that's called. Kind of, that area right there. Either way.
Tip?
Yeah, it's all the tip, right? So,
All the tip.
yeah, so the Snapchat beta, if you Snapchat, you can go try it out. It's not the coolest thing. I actually think it broke my video capabilities because I was sending videos and everyone's like, oh, it's just black. And I'm like, oh, great, Snapchat beta broke my
Ruining my
phone.
stuff.
Yeah.
Taking away features, yeah.
My art, made my Snapchat art. It's all just dog pictures, to be honest. It's just my dogs.
Snapchat.
Snapchat. So that's the first app, Snapchat beta. My second app, I brushed on it very briefly last week. It's called TrueSkate, TrueSkate, and it's a skateboarding game. And I've been playing it quite a bit, and it's actually kind of a lot of fun. It takes a couple of hours, I'd say, to actually get used to it and actually be able to be good at it. But just kidding, it takes like 5 minutes. But it's a fun game. You just so there's a little skateboard on the screen. It kind of reminds me of like a tech deck, and maybe you swipe on the screen, and your board starts going. You turn around with your fingers, and then you can ollie by flicking on the back of the board, and it goes up, and then you can flick it to do heel flips, kick flips, tray flips, kind of like why do you have a tech deck?
I have a tech deck hanging.
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
It has a
yeah.
tech
Look at
deck.
that.
Wow.
That's crazy. Wow.
Took me back.
You found that quick.
Yeah.
Well, I knocked over this thing that holds pens and stuff on my desk today, and it was in the bottom.
rolled
Like
out.
it spilled out, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
tech deck!"
Tech
Bottom of a pen
And
thing is
Kellen
like
was playing
treasure
with it for
trove.
the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Droid Life didn't get updated
set up
because
one of those
we
little
were
rant-
tech deck.
Yeah, you guys wondered where I went today. I was ollieing, grinding my keyboard.
Oh man, scaring the
Grinding my
cats.
keyboard. That's another really
That
great
did sound
pen
kinda
name.
Wow.
So yeah, TrueSkate. I think it's like
Anyways.
a $1.99 on Google Play. Feel free to check it out if you are so inclined.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any apps or anything? I don't think I have.
All right. Blink Feed is not that terrible. Let's be honest.
Oh, you're on
Blink
my.
Feed is
I'm with you
really
on that.
not the worst thing in the world. Granted, I don't have it set up for my home screen, but when I do swipe over there, it's not bad. I gotta say, I was expecting just an unusable piece of junk, but once you load all your stuff on there, and granted, it looks a little dumb when you just have a bunch of text on there, but when you get some Instagram, some photos, all that kind of stuff, it's not bad. I gotta say, I was mildly impressed with Blink Feed, so that's my app for the day.
Yeah, it took me a minute to warm up to it as well, but I actually didn't mind using it because it just put a bunch of information for you without having to go look for it, and I guess that's probably the point. But yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to dig. Remember that commercial? You don't want to dig through your phone.
Oh, that's right. Stupid commercials.
Unbelievable.
Oh, Google has confirmed Hugo Barra's
Hugo Barra
departure.
is gone. You want me to read their statement?
Rest in
Read
peace.
it. Read it.
I would say we will, but we'll miss him at Google, and I would say we are excited that he is staying. Never mind. So I'm reading this all wrong. We wish Hugo Barra the best. We'll miss him at Google, and we're excited that he is staying within the Android ecosystem. The end. So they confirmed that he's staying within the Android ecosystem.
No, he's going to Xiaomi or whatever.
That's not confirmed. Who's confirming this?
He's gone from Google. Like, he's gone.
Yeah, it just says we'll wish him the best, but
Android
it's Android ecosystem,
Which
it's not
means
confirmed.
anything remotely connected to Android.
No,
Exactly.
okay, he's not going to Samsung.
No. Or Amazon.
No,
hang out with the
Or
Kindle.
Motorola.
He could be going to Samsung if it has to do with their Android
Does
area.
it seem kind of random that he would go to this Xiaomi company?
Yes,
He's
that's what I was saying.
they're a nobody in terms of global Android market share. They're in China, and that's
But
it. I know there's a
But they're huge in China.
They are, yeah.
He must. Oh, okay. Yep. Never mind. Staying away
So
from that.
Hugo Barra's breakup with Sergey Brin's girlfriend was such a big deal that he's leaving America and going to China. I just put that together.
Maybe.
It could happen.
Oh, it could happen. All right, so
Hugo.
Some weird news. Yeah, weird news tonight.
We wish him the best too.
We wish him the best. And
He
we'll
can come
look
work for
forward
us
to
anytime.
wherever.
We just don't have that kind of money to pay him.
Yeah, come
Sorry,
on over,
Eric.
Hugo.
Gonna have to let you go.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, we have to pay Hugo now. All right, well, I don't have anything else. Unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about tonight. Again, short show. Just not a lot going on. Other than, Note 3 next week, sorry.
Next week, Note 3. I mean, this is it. Note 3.
Note 3.
What
Tim and I were talking about this earlier, that Samsung needs to receive an award for their security or keeping stuff under wraps. Like, we know mostly nothing about the Note 3. We know it's a couple colors. That was a given. We know it's going to have a big screen. That was a given. It might have OIS, Tim's favorite, optical image. What do you call it?
Stabilization. Picture mumbo jumbo.
Yeah,
Picture mumbo
picture
jumbo.
stabilizing mumbo jumbo. We're pretty sure it'll have that 1080p display. Other than that, we don't really know. Other than they might have gotten rid of a 16 gig version because they're going to put so much TouchWiz crap on it that it'll take up all of that. Yeah. But that's next Wednesday. So no show next Wednesday because we'll be in New York dealing with Note 3 stuff.
It's pretty exciting times.
Pretty exciting.
What a lovely segue into the last piece of information that I put on the thing.
Oh yeah. So what's going on?
So
my least favorite word on the planet.
Yeah, no. I forget which dictionary it was, but it's not like a.
It's not
like a
Webster's.
Merriam-Webster.
It's not like a real dictionary. It's like Urban Dictionary.
Oh yeah, it's not real
Kinda.
dictionary.
It's kind of in the middle. They added a bunch of words to their vernacular today, and Fablo was one of them. And I wanted to tell everybody a little story about a couple years ago, back when I wrote for a little website called Android Life, back before Samsung was the biggest thing ever, and before the Galaxy Note was actually something you want to have. I wrote a lot of stories on the Galaxy Note before it came out, and I was like, man, I could probably come up with something funny to describe this. And Fablo was born, and I'm gonna take this to the grave that I came up with that word, because it was me and Dan working that day.
Credit.
Nice.
Eric's taking credit for it.
I'm pretty sure that I started that. I'm just saying.
Wow, Phablet. Phablet was you?
Because it was
Phablet
me and
was apparently
Dan,
Eric.
and then Dan went to work for BGR, and then I would read his stories every once in a while, and he started
And he
using it over
mentioned
there.
Phablet a little bit?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm taking credit for that. I'm just saying. You guys can dispute me, but I'm almost positive that I got a word in the dictionary. So.
I will let you take credit, but I
don't
have
think you can claim that you got the word in the dictionary. Maybe you can.
What, I don't get a little
pretend you
byline
made
at the
up
bottom
a
of the
word.
dictionary? Just by Eric Reese?
Well, you didn't get it in there. You weren't listening then. Like, hey guys, this word's pretty awesome.
Eric added Phablet to the wiki dictionary that anyone can edit, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm totally taking credit for that.
Yeah. What do you do about it?
Anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
Somebody research that. Somebody go back to old Android Life posts and find
Find
the
out who
origin
posted
of
it first.
It'll be on
Phablet
one
and
of
see
the.
if it really was him.
Because I remember I was at IUPUI at the time, and I was like sitting there writing stories about the Galaxy Note while I was like sitting on the floor waiting for classes. And I was like, man, who would want a phone this big? Like, it made no sense at the time, like having something that big. So it was a phone and a tablet at the same time, and I was like, man, I just need to stick these together. And then I'm pretty sure Kellen told me to stop using it at some point.
It's
I told
possible.
everyone.
He told everyone to stop.
I told everyone because that word drives me nuts. I hate that word with such a great passion. But I didn't know that you apparently created it, so it's a little different now. Although I still don't like it, but
That's
Or
okay.
you.
I understand.
But
it's
I
an
don't-
easily hateable word.
yeah, it's not
Oh,
your
wow.
fault for me not liking it.
Look at this guy. He's already got a link.
Uh-oh. We
Oh,
have a
that's,
Let's have a
link.
look.
that's from January of 2012?
January 2012.
That's possible.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah,
there's
look at that.
Oh,
Phablet.
italicized
That's the best word I
Phablet.
can... Oh, nope. He says that I can find to describe the Samsung Galaxy Note. So...
well, yeah, I didn't. Of course, I didn't say. I didn't
So
come out
you
and say,
found it.
all right, I just put this together.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
We really got to look back at this now.
Yeah,
so
there's
this
some
January 2012. So almost a year and a half. Well, over a year and a half ago, Eric dropped Phablet. Was this the first? I don't know.
Tough to
Well,
tell.
we'll do some more research.
Somebody Google Phablet 2011 quickly.
That's just going to show phablets from 2011.
Yeah.
Probably. Wow, we have
Anyway.
hashtag droid twerk life rolling through the chat. That's awesome.
Well, when you go to Wikipedia /wiki
Yeah.
/phablet, it says the word launched in 2011. So
Ooh.
We'll see. I'll do some more research. I'll get back to you
yeah,
on
you
that.
do that next week. You update us.
Yeah, I will. Well, next week when we don't have a Droid Live show.
Maybe you can write a special opinion.
I can have the opinion post that week for how I invented Phablet?
Yeah, you can have it for this week too.
You can try, yes.
That's fine.
Yeah. All right, I've got nothing else.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks again for joining in. No show again next week, but we should be back, I think, the week after that. Double check. Yeah, I think we should be back the week after that. So, anyways, Droid Live Show episode 34, the books. Peace.
Peace.
Adios.
Bye.